rightly self-awakened has given in sequence. See the two statements. Declared in sequence. By the Tathagata. Awakened, sympathetic. To all beings. The first. Be dispassionate there. Toward evil. Then, with a mind dispassionate. You will put an end. To suffering and stress.
This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, ignorance precedes the arrival of unskillful qualities, lack of conscience and lack of concern follow after. Clear knowing precedes the arrival of skillful qualities, conscience and concern follow after. Any bad destinations in this world, in the next, are rooted in ignorance all. Accumulations of desire and greed. And when a person of evil desires lacks conscience and respect, evil comes from that. And by that he goes to deprivation. So cleansing away ignorance, desire, and greed, a monk giving rise to clear knowing would abandon all bad destinations.
This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, those beings are truly deprived who are deprived of noble discernment. They live in stress in the present life, troubled, distressed, and feverish, and at the breakup of the body, after death, a bad destination can be expected. Those beings are not deprived who are not deprived of noble discernment. They live in ease in the present life, untroubled, undistressed, and not feverish, and at the breakup of the body, after death, a good destination can be expected.
Look at the world, including its heavenly beings, deprived of discernment, making an abode in name and form. It conceives that this is the truth. The best discernment in the world is what leads to penetration, for it rightly discerns the total ending of birth and becoming. Human and heavenly beings, hold them dear. Those who are self-awakened, mindful, bearing their last bodies with joyful discernment.
Alternate translation, Ireland. This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, there are these two bright qualities that safeguard the world. Which two? Conscience and concern for the results of unskillful actions. If these two bright qualities did not guard the world, there would be no recognition of mother here, no recognition of mother's sister, uncle's wife, teacher's wife, or wife of those who deserve respect. The world would be immersed in promiscuity, like rams with goats, roosters with pigs, or dogs with jackals. But because these two bright qualities guard the world, there is recognition of mother, mother's sister, uncle's wife, teacher's wife, and wife of those who deserve respect.
Those in whom concern and conscience are not always found, have strayed from the bright root, are headed to birth and death. But those in whom concern and conscience are rightly established always, who are mature in the holy life, they are calm. Their further becoming ended.
Alternate translation, Ireland. This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, there is, monks, an unborn, unbecome, unmade, unfabricated. If there were not that unborn, unbecome, unmade, unfabricated, there would not be the case that emancipation from the born become made fabricated would be discerned. But precisely because there is an unborn, unbecome, unmade, unfabricated, emancipation from the born become made fabricated is thus discerned.
The born, become, produced. Made, fabricated, impermanent. Composed of aging and death. A nest of illnesses, perishing. Come from nourishment. And the guide, that is craving, is unfit for delight. The escape from that is calm, permanent, beyond inference, unborn, unproduced. The sorrowless, stainless state. The cessation of stressful qualities. The stilling of fabrications. Bliss.
Alternate translation, Ireland. This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, monks, there are these two forms of the unbinding property. Which two? The unbinding property with fuel remaining, and the unbinding property with no fuel remaining. And what is the unbinding property with fuel remaining? There is the case where a monk is an arahant whose fermentations have ended, who has reached fulfillment, finished the task, laid down the burden, attained the true goal, ended the fetter of becoming, and is released through right gnosis. His 5 sense faculties still remain and, owing to their being intact, he is cognizant of the agreeable and the disagreeable, and is sensitive to pleasure and pain. His ending of passion, aversion, and delusion is termed the unbinding property with fuel remaining.
And what is the unbinding property with no fuel remaining? There is the case where a monk is an arahant whose fermentations have ended, who has reached fulfillment, finished the task, laid down the burden, attained the true goal, ended the fetter of becoming, and is released through right gnosis. For him, all that is sensed, being unrelished, will grow cold right here. This is termed the unbinding property with no fuel remaining.
These two proclaimed by the one with vision. Unbinding properties, the one independent. The one who is such. One property, here in this life. With fuel remaining. From the destruction of the guide to becoming. And that with no fuel remaining. After this life.
In which all becoming totally ceases. Those who know this state uncompounded, their minds released through the destruction of the guide to becoming, they, attaining the teaching's core, pleased with ending, have abandoned all becoming. They, the such.
This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, monks, live enjoying aloofness, delighting in aloofness, inwardly committed to awareness tranquility, not neglecting jhana, endowed with clear-seeing insight, and frequenting empty buildings. As you live enjoying aloofness, delighting in aloofness, inwardly committed to awareness tranquility, not neglecting jhana, endowed with clear-seeing insight, and frequenting empty buildings, then one of 2 fruits can be expected, either gnosis right in the present life, or if there be any remnant of clinging sustenance non-return.
Those with calm minds. Masterful. Mindful. Absorbed in jhana. Clearly see things rightly. Not intent on sensual pleasures. Delighting in heedfulness. Calm. Seeing danger in heedlessness, they. Incapable of falling away. Are right on the verge of unbinding.
This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, monks, live with the trainings, in heightened virtue, heightened mind, and heightened discernment, as your reward, with discernment uppermost, release the essence, and mindfulness the governing principle. As you live with the trainings as your reward, with discernment uppermost, release the essence, and mindfulness the governing principle, then one of 2 fruits can be expected, either gnosis right in the present life, or if there be any remnant of clinging sustenance non-return.
Complete in the training. Not subject to falling away. One with discernment. Uppermost. Seeing the stopping, the ending of birth. That sage bears his last body. Has shaken off Mara, I tell you. Has gone beyond aging. So, always. Delighting in jhana. Centered. Ardent. Seeing the stopping, the ending of birth. Conquering Mara, along with his host. Monks. Be gone beyond aging and death.
This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, a monk should be wakeful, mindful, alert, centered, sensitive, clear, and calm. And there he should, at the appropriate times, see clearly into skillful mental qualities. For a monk who is wakeful, mindful, alert, centered, sensitive, clear, and calm, seeing clearly, at the appropriate times, into skillful mental qualities, one of 2 fruits can be expected, either gnosis right in the present life, or if there be any remnant of clinging sustenance non-return.
Those who are wakeful, listen. Those who are sleeping, wake up. Wakefulness is better than sleep. For those who are wakeful, there's no danger, no fear. Whoever is wakeful, mindful, alert, centered, sensitive, calm, and clear. Rightly exploring the Dhamma.
At appropriate times. Will at oneness. Shatter the darkness. So be devoted to wakefulness. The ardent monk. Masterful, acquiring jhana. Cutting the fetter of birth and aging. Touches right here. A self-awakening undash. Surpassed.
This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, monks, these two are doomed to deprivation, to hell, for not abandoning their conduct. Which two? One who, not living the celibate life, pretends to be one who lives the celibate life, and one who groundlessly accuses one who lives the celibate life perfectly and purely of uncelibate behavior. These are the two who are doomed to deprivation, to hell, for not abandoning their conduct.
He goes to hell. The one who asserts what didn't take place, as does the one who, having done, says, I didn't. Both low-acting people. They become equal. After death, in the world beyond. An ochre robe tied round their necks.
Many with evil qualities. Unrestrained, evil. Rearise, because of their evil acts. In hell. Better to eat an iron ball. Glowing, aflame. Than that, unprincipled and unrestrained. You should eat the alms of the country.
Alternate translation, Ireland. This was said by the Blessed One, said by the Arahant, so I have heard, overcome by two viewpoints. Some human and divine beings adhere, other human and divine beings slip right past, while those with vision see. And how do some adhere? Human and divine beings enjoy becoming, delight in becoming, are satisfied with becoming. When the Dhamma is being taught for the sake of the cessation of becoming, their minds do not take to it, are not calmed by it, do not settle on it or become resolved on it. This is how some adhere.
And how do some slip right past? Some, feeling horrified, humiliated, and disgusted with that very becoming, relish non-becoming, when this self, at the breakup of the body, after death, perishes and is destroyed, and does not exist after death, that is peaceful, that is exquisite, that is sufficiency. This is how some slip right past. And how do those with vision see? There is the case where a monk sees what has come into being as come into being. Seeing what has come into being as come into being, he practices for disenchantment with what has come into being, dispassion toward what has come into being, cessation of what has come into being. This is how those with vision see.
Those, having seen what's come to be, as what's come to be, and what's gone beyond what's come to be, are released in line with what's come to be, through the exhaustion of craving for becoming. If they've comprehended what's come to be, and are free from the craving for becoming and with the non-becoming of what's come to be, monks come to no further becoming.
Note: this discourse illustrates, in a technical fashion, the function of appropriate attention explained in the note to section 16. SN 12.15 presents the same point from a different perspective. This world takes as its object a polarity, that of existence and non-existence. But when one sees the origination of the world equals the six senses and their objects, as it actually is with right discernment, non-existence with reference to the world does not occur to one. When one sees the cessation of the world as it actually is with right discernment, existence with reference to the world does not occur to one. By and large, this world is in bondage to attachments, clingings, and biases. But one such as this does not get involved with or cling to these attachments, clingings, fixations of awareness, biases, or obsessions, nor is he resolved on myself. He has no uncertainty or doubt that, when there is arising, only stress is arising, and that when there is passing away, stress is passing away. In this, his knowledge is independent of others.